So guys, I don't know how you guys are feeling, but I'm feeling sad because I was ready for basically what we all wanted to happen in 2003, where we wanted it to be a tie and for you both to win. I thought that was going to happen on The Masked Singer this week. It was going to be a
Now,
Clay Ruben rematch with the closest vote in history, and you both win. I thought you were going to win this season. How are you
now,
feeling?
Lindsey Parker, in 2003, I did not want it to be a tie. I wanted to win.
Okay.
But
But we weren't competing against each other in the first place. So how did that work out? Ruben, if we had been competing against each other, yes, Ruben would have won again. But we didn't have to. We didn't have to this time. That's the reason I said yes in the first place, because I didn't have to worry about getting beat by Ruben.
What made you want to go on The Masked Singer?
Well, I thought it was just something, it's really a fun show. Like when you look at the show from a viewer's perspective, it seems like something really fun to do. It seems like everybody's having an excellent time. And when you get there, for the most part, that's the truth. Like it's a good time. Like you get an opportunity to sing songs that you wouldn't necessarily sing. And you're also the most difficult part of the show is the costume. You
Yeah.
know,
One thing that I loved about the fact, I think that the fans of American Idol really loved about seeing you back together on Fox, on reality TV, is the friendship, the theme of the friendship that you guys had for 21 years. Absolutely, was kind of the theme of every song you did and all your clue packages and stuff. So tell me about this bond that you still have 2 decades later, because there's lots of people go on a show like American Idol. They may stay in touch, they may see each other at reunions or whatever, but not like the friendship that you guys have. It's so lovely. Tell me how you've endured this, how it's
I
endured.
I have absolutely no idea why our particular season felt more like family than most. Like it's weird, even now when we both gone back to the show several times to see how the contestants interact with each other, which is completely different than how we were as a group of and not just with Clay and I remember Ricky, Corey, and myself. We were all like go out after like things. We would like have dinner. Like we would all like be like, I remember we playing out, be fussing over the computer down. So like we were like literally like a real family. And so for us, it's oftentimes like weird for us to even feel that question because we came into that situation as family members. Like and I think to the producer's credit, I think they did this on purpose because it made for a more real reaction when one of our castmates left. Like we really cared. Like it wasn't like, oh my God, such and such is going home. We'll never talk to them again. Like as soon as somebody went home, like we were like trying to like figure out how we can get them to come back to the house and hang out. Like it was, we really are a unit like that.
I don't know if it was so. I mean, I don't know that I think it was scripted in that way so much as it was so unscripted. I mean, we were on a season where we didn't have we sang to track. Our set was made, no joke, out of paper mache. I mean, we were in the very rudimentary, early, primitive version of Idol, and so there weren't any stakes. We went into this show not realizing that it was going to be this enormous behemoth that would change our lives forever. We all kind of thought it was going to be this fun experience. We get to be on TV, maybe we meet some people, and none of us expected it to be such a big deal. And so I don't think we came into it feeling the need to be competitive so much. I know we both went back in later seasons where contestants certainly get along, and I don't know that there's stories of people not getting along on the show, but they were always recognizing that so-and-so is my competitor. I want to beat so-and-so. And we just never had that on our year.
I do want to ask, obviously it was a very positive experience for both of you guys, but to your point, Clay, about how you kind of didn't know what to expect. I cite these statistics all the time. One of the reasons, besides that it totally sounded like you on The Masked Singer, that I knew the key clue was the 40 million eyes. The fact that Super Bowl style numbers every week. Fun fact for people watching this, most watched Idol episode in history was your finale. 38.1 million people tuned in.
Hmm.
So double the eyes of that. So obviously it, it was massive and you weren't prepared for that when you were kind of thrown into everything, with whether it was the stuff in the gossip media, being on the cover of magazines, fake media rivalry between you guys. Like, how did, not only did you handle that, but I imagine you might have leaned on each other to sort of navigate this whirlwind.
The great thing, the great thing and the hard thing about being on American Idol is that you are in this bubble, right? And so a lot of the things that you're privy to or that the general public is privy to, we didn't get to see. Like we didn't get to see the People magazine articles and all this kind of stuff. Like we were literally
Mm.
like there to do a specific job, and the only, like, most of the time that we had that was downtime, we were either talking to one of our family members downstairs, like trying to watch a movie together or playing on the PlayStation or eating, which we didn't, even though we all gained weight, we didn't have a lot of time to do that much either. But I just think that they had us so laser focused on the task at hand that it really wasn't any time for us to hear the chatter. And I remember when they gave us that computer. Remember that, Clay, when we got that first
Downstairs, yes,
huge Apple, the iMac, the very first one,
with a message board.
and we start and we finally found out what the message boards were. We were like, people actually, they're talking about us because we
Yeah,
didn't.
I mean, yeah, it's crazy for people to think now, 20 years later. There was no social media. It didn't exist. Facebook, Twitter, none of that existed at all. There were these little message boards buried into the Fox website that people went on. There were cell phones, but there was not really texting. The only texting people knew how to do was 866, you know what I mean? So Idol Zone 2. And it was so different back then. But also I think part of what made Ruben and I went into different, genres. Also, we didn't never necessarily sing exactly the same stuff. So while we were competitors on the show, we weren't directly competitive with each other. We weren't trying to steal songs from each other each week. And we went into, like I said before, we went into the show just wanting to do the best. I wanted to make sure I didn't go home every week. I didn't look to try to get rid of someone each week, and didn't want friends of mine to leave. And then, afterwards, because it was all so new, I mean, Kelly and Justin, of course, did it first, but I think I would argue that Ruben and I sort of did it first, because 30%, I checked this the other day because I was preparing for all these interviews, and I looked, and we got a 30 share that night on the finale. So 30% of all TVs in America that were turned on were watching the finale, which is unheard of now.
Yeah.
And so we kind of got thrown out of this bubble that Ruben was talking about into a fire. The first week after Idol, Ruben, we were in New York, and we went to see a former fellow contestant, Frenchie Davis. She was in Rent on Broadway, and we showed up to the show. We sat down in our seats. They started the show, and then they stopped it to move Ruben and I up to the balcony because nobody was watching the show. They were trying to take pictures with us, and they had to move us to, I mean, we kind of got thrown into the fire, yes, separately, but at the same time together. A lot of what happened to us right after the show for that first summer, we shared, and there's a bond that comes out of that, we went through hell to get away, and we survived. And we went through hell on Masked Singer wearing those costumes.
There's one, I know we're running out of time, and but I gotta ask this. When we're talking about great moments when everybody used to gather around for the appointment in television, Clay, do you have any memories of the Michael Sandecki duet? One of the greatest moments in Idol history. Oh my God. People lost their minds.
Yes, I do. I remember that. That was, I believe, the second highest rated episode of Idol ever, after the Ruben finale. Yes, I do. I mean, Nigel Lithgow and the folks who produced Idol back when we were there, who it still includes Megan Wolflick, who was a producer on our show. She's the showrunner now. They knew how to create good TV. I mean, they just knew how to make a show appointment TV, and they knew how to get people talking the next day. And so, I mean, the Michael Sandecki thing is one. I mean, you can go back through each season, and there are moments in each season that are just that people still remember and talk about. Everybody still talks about Fantasia singing Summertime. I mean, there are things that every season has, and that show continues to create. I mean, there was a beautiful moment this past week where several of the contestants came back to pay tribute to Mandisa, which wonderful woman who Ruben and I, were really shocked to hear had passed. And I love that Idol did that for her, because it was such a beautiful moment, and they still make wonderful TV, and they honor the folks who kind of like Mandisa, who made the show what it is.
I will end things on that lovely note then, because yes, there's been wacky moments, and you certainly. What'd you say?
She banged.
Right.
Oh my God. I just heard Ruben Studdard do a William Hung impression. I think my life's complete. I mean, the surreal moments of this week just keep on coming. But congratulations on 21 years of friendship and making magic happen on TV and on stage. And I have to let you go. But thank you so much for your time.
Thank you for your
Thank
time.
you.
Thank you, guys.